Tonight, a strange and troubling discovery in that deadly plane crash in the French Alps this week. According to a New York Times report, one of the plane's pilots was locked out of the cockpit before the crash. A source told the newspaper that the cockpit voice recorder captured audio of the pilot trying to smash the door down. Investigators aren't sure why the pilot left the cockpit or why he couldn't get back in. 150 people, including 3 Americans, were killed in the crash.
Flies Airbus A320s. He joins us. Good evening, Leon.
Good evening, Greta.
All right, so possible explanations. One is terrorism. I'll get to that. The second is that it was somehow decompression and people lost consciousness. Is that right? Is that the other choice, do you think, main choice?
I've heard that theory myself. I think it's a little too early to speculate on what could have caused it, but once we hear the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, I think we'll have a much better handle on the moments leading up to the incident.
Okay, A320, when you heard Catherine say that there are alarms going off. What kind of alarms go off in a cockpit?
Anything from a small malfunction to a major malfunction will trigger an alarm. And once investigators actually listen to the cockpit voice recorder, they'll be able to tell pretty well what the specific alarm was.
All right, if an A320 decompresses, or any plane decompresses, I take it then people lose consciousness at that point, unless you put on an oxygen mask. Does that necessarily mean, though, that wouldn't your autopilot still be intact, and wouldn't the plane continue to fly until it ran out of fuel, unless there was some other structural problem?
Well, Greta, there are different types of decompression. They can happen all of a sudden or slowly, but the oxygen masks are readily available to the pilots. And once again, until we actually know how the aircraft was being controlled at the final moments, I think it's a little too early to speculate as to what the pilots were doing right before the accident.
I'm not talking about these pilots, but just in general, if a plane decompresses, it doesn't mean the plane can't continue to fly, right? If that's the only sole problem?
No, that's absolutely correct, and there have been accidents and incidents before where aircraft flew for long periods of time after they had suffered decompression.
All right. In A320s, a lot of redundancies. If one thing goes wrong, there's something there to back it up on many of the parts of the plane?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the safest aircraft platforms in existence today. It has multiple systems that all back each other up. And for something to go wrong, it would have to be what we call multiple failures of redundant systems, which is highly unlikely. As your guest said before, it's an aircraft that's in service all over the world with an excellent safety record.
All right, what kind of thing can go wrong with an A320 that it would have a descent? I mean, now that's a steep descent, but that's not like a stall where you basically fall out of the sky.
Oh, yeah, I think stall is out of the question. But again, I can't really speculate as to what happened in this case. But there are just too many different possibilities to speculate about what could have caused this incident.
But if you take 8 minutes to go down 32,000 feet, if you're a passenger in the back of the plane, you're going to notice that it's going down, right? I mean, you can feel the plane going down.
I believe that's correct.
All right. Have you ever, as a pilot, taken an A320 down that steep, for instance, 32,000 feet in 8 minutes? Is that uncommon?
I personally have not. However, it's certainly possible, and it's possible to do safely. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the flight data recorder, which will tell us exactly what the descent rate was. And once again, I think it's a little too early to speculate, but once you see that flight data recorder, that'll tell you a lot more of what you'd like to know.
I hear people say that the A320 is like a computer with wings. Would you share that description or not?
I have heard that description as well. It's that computer is there primarily for safety. It also increases fuel efficiency, passenger comfort, but it's a very automated aircraft, but it can also be controlled just the same by the pilots. But those computer systems are redundant and exist primarily for an incredible amount of safety.
Leon, thank you very much.
Thank you.